Mike Tyson doesn't know mercy, and once upon a time he was known to be one of the most dangerous boxers to fight. Some have defeated him, but there are a lot more who have vowed to, only to have ended up on the verge of dying. Hey guys, welcome back to the video. Today we're going to show you the fighters who did not come close to the might of Mike Tyson. Here are how his opponents looked before and after they stepped into the ring with Tyson. So buckle up, this is not going to be very peaceful. It's pretty common in boxing to bite more than you can chew. In a sport that is all about strengths and less of weaknesses, you'll always have to talk like you're the best. But true greatness always comes when you learn how to walk it. Now, in 1985, Donnie Long and then neophyte boxer Mike Tyson were facing off in a boxing match. Long was quoted to have said that
This is a big win to let everybody know that Donnie Long is back.
It wasn't contested that Donnie Long was a pretty good fighter, but there can only be one winner. Given that there's no doubt that he knew of the name Mike Tyson, he knew where his promises were going to take him. It was either going to be that he's right or the other way around with pure embarrassment. But there was a lot at stake for Long here because this could have propelled him to be a good contender for the heavyweight championship. Long had promised to keep Tyson in the middle to have him at bay and beat him up right then and there, but that didn't happen as much as he wanted to, as Tyson had kept him trapped in the ring's sidelines. Big mistake for Long. Blunder after blunder, it wasn't long, pun intended, until he realized that it was too late as he kept on falling and losing his balance as Tyson just went all out with jabs full of power. They didn't even reach the second round as Tyson found the opportunity for an uppercut towards Long's chin, which eventually sent him into a knockout.
Actually, you hear all trainers and other fighters, they'll say,
but he was too proud to listen as he thought Tyson was vulnerable and reckless enough for him to beat. Oh boy, didn't take much for him to be proven wrong. He had promised in an interview to hurt the Iron Mike, but that's just not possible. Instead, it was he who was hurt. During the fight, we have to give it to Boyd though, as he went and risked a lot of things just to get nearer to Tyson and penetrate his defense. I think his goal right there was to get closer to deliver a powerful knockout punch while destabilizing him. But Tyson saw it coming and instead turned Boyd's advances into the endgame of the match. He approached him and then threw him his signature combo of a right hook to the body and another right uppercut to the head. Tyson caught him and aimed for the ribcage, which might have felt like a huge blow to the guts. Boyd was left falling and down just by the second round and was caught catching his breath from the pain that Tyson had inflicted upon him. As the referee counted to 10, Boyd accepted that he was wrong and didn't bother getting up. After the fight, he said in his interviews that he took back what he said before he got beaten down, and had concluded that
stronger than I thought he was.
Boyd had said that Mike Tyson is probably the hardest hitter that he's ever fought with, and that Tyson had a real chance at the heavyweight championship, which would eventually turn out true in the years that came right after the fight. During the reign of Mike Tyson, all boxers have ever dreamed of was to be one of those people who would knock him down. I mean, with his reputation of power, aggression, and speed, who wouldn't want to be known as one of the few who conquered his might? But sadly, Stewart was not destined to be one of those people, even as he dreamed all his life of conquering the mountain that is Mike Tyson. And he thought Mike Tyson was just as good as him, but he was wrong.
I mean, this is what I've dreamt about, being in a major fight where the opponent is just as good. And
as soon as the bell rang indicating the fight had started, Tyson did not waste time showing his dominant skills toward his opponent. He didn't back down and hold back as he threw in punch after punch and his signature combinations toward Stewart. If I were Stewart during that first round, I don't care if it would be embarrassing. I'd rather run than have my death look that way. But hey, it's boxing. If you fall like Stewart did, just get back up, I guess. But what made it even funnier is that it was evident in Stewart's face that he was already fearing for his life. And when he thought Tyson missed his right hook, he didn't see the left uppercut coming, eventually sending him down the ropes. When Stewart was asked about his loss after the interview, he just excused himself and told people he was caught early, and if he just had not brought his guard down, the fight would have still gone on. Even if you're the most experienced boxer in the plant, Mike Tyson can match that along with superior power, speed, and aggression. Experience matters, of course, but maybe not with Tyson. In this fight with Jesse Ferguson, Ferguson detailed how he was supposed to win over Tyson by just fighting him back using the experience that he has.
But if it doesn't go in the later rounds, it's fine. In the earlier rounds, I'm strong. In the later rounds, I get stronger. And I feel that I can beat Mike Tyson.
The fight was one of the determining factors of whether or not Mike Tyson deserved to be one of the contenders for the heavyweight championship, and that all of his prior history was not something that was just exaggerated, as people had still been doubting his prowess. In the 5th round, Tyson had caught Ferguson towards the corners of the rope, and he knew that that place was somewhere he had to be, so he didn't let him go. He wasn't so forgiving as he threw in successive combos and made Ferguson the punching bag that he wasn't meant to be with right hooks, body shots, uppercuts, and headshots. Ferguson was able to endure all of that, but if there had been more punches thrown at him, that could have already sent him in a spine board out of the venue. He fell right after Tyson realized that it was already enough, but Ferguson was just too proud to admit that he was over now. So, Tyson showed him that he should never have gotten up in the first place and beat him up in the same way he did earlier until he eventually gave up as the round closed. Right after the fight, he said that he was just caught off the game and did not anticipate that the fight was going to go in that direction, but acknowledged that indeed Tyson is a good fighter. This is another person who is banking on experience and what he's gone through to be enough to beat Tyson in the ring, Tyrell Biggs. Spoiler alert, it's not. Because Mike Tyson had also gone through the same, and it takes a lot more than experience to beat someone of his caliber. But okay, let's give him the benefit of the doubt that he is a pretty good fighter. But Mike Tyson isn't the Mike Tyson for no reason.
I owe it to myself to go out there and beat Michael Tyson,
he said in an interview. Let's see about that. This fight had only lasted for 7 rounds, and we have to commend Biggs for lasting this long, despite Tyson's reputation of being hungry for short-lasting fights. But when Biggs said that he wants to beat Tyson, well, it all went down the drain as early in the first round he immediately went for the clinch. But Tyson won't allow that as he strikes and hits successively using all the power that he's got under those gloves. Trapping him in corners and penetrating his defenses was the key to exhausting him. Biggs had fallen under the ropes with blood dripping down from his face after taking numerous left hooks from Tyson, but he still got up and continued with the fight, not letting the referee reach the count of 10. Hyping himself up and breaking a bit of the distance, Tyson went on to shoot for powerful jabs once again towards Biggs' jaws and face, which eventually turned out to be the game ender as it had sent him spiraling down the canvas and never to have gotten back up the same way again. Tyson was happy with the results, as he should be, and revealed that Biggs was already crying in the ring as he beat him like a punching bag.
I think Smith just proved a point that, the kid is not invincible.
With Mike Tyson making a name for himself in the late 80s as a boxer who was one of the toughest to beat, everybody who wanted to be number one has got to overcome him. He's like the final boss stage in a video game, and by the pure record, he was only beaten 6 times in his entire career, so that tells a lot about how much power Tyson carried throughout, but that also means that he's not invincible. But Pinklin Thomas isn't the one to decide that. This winner-takes-all fight happened for the WBC and WBA titles at once. It wasn't surprising that Thomas had lasted 6 rounds with Tyson, but that's just it, as the beast had already been released with Tyson breaking Thomas down into pieces as he throws 17 successive blows to the head, with Thomas already falling to the canvas, never to have gotten up again. And that's it for our video today, everyone. Thanks so much for watching Mike Tyson's opponents before and after their fights. Let us know in the comments section down below if you want more content like this. Until next time.